No. Hello,
Hey,
welcome back, everybody. This is the Florida West Coast Fishing Report. Captain George, Captain Sergio, and all the people. Well, we got 11 people on already that I can tell. I've just got to, but they're not coming through yet.
well, I'm gonna write hello and see if anybody responds.
I mean, I'm showing a bunch of people on already, but I just,
Right.
only Alejandro's showing up so far.
Alejandro said, "What's up, captains? How you doing,
There
Alejandro?"
we go. Captain George Hastic is, that's, there you go. Yep. All right. So we're getting through to everybody. That's good. A lot of things going on, George, and a lot of heat going on.
Oh yeah, it was. It feels like temperatures either today or yesterday was 111.
Well, I tell you,
Ridiculous.
you got to be very careful this time of the year. They all tell you by 11:30, be inside because of the heat index is so bad.
Yeah, Roger, you ain't kidding when you say hot. That's an understatement. I I was joking around with my clients today saying, I don't know how I have a gut left with as much sweating as I'm doing for the last month.
And I'm telling you, well, I've lost that. Believe it or not, working on the yard and everything that I've been doing, sweating so hard, I've
Sure.
lost 8.5 pounds.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
I'm hoping to lose another 8 or 10 if I can. Get rid of this fat. You know?
Joe tuned in. How you doing, Joe?
Hello, Joe. Everybody's tuning in. That's good. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
If anybody out there that's listening in, if you caught any mackerel in the bay, kind of let us know. George says there's a few coming in. Last week, I went to two of the hot spots that we normally catch mackerel, and there was no mackerel. The only
Yeah.
place I caught mackerel, George, was close to the Skyway.
I went, like I said, I told you a few days ago, I went and we only spent about 15, 20 minutes out there and we got into them pretty good. So I'm hoping that wasn't a fluke. I hope they're back up in the bay good now again.
Well, let's
And
hope.
the bait was there and
Well,
there's all
that's the
kinds.
secret. Like you
Yeah.
said, there's been a lot of bait again. That brings
Yeah.
the mackerel.
Yep. And you know, the hatch happened. So we've got a lot of small bait and there's a ton of it going on right now in that 2.5 to 3.5 inch range. And you know, I caught a bunch of that today, and it was perfect because we did a mangrove snapper.
But and I was the bite of the mango snapper.
Well, that's the other thing that's moved into the bay now. They finally
Trying
kicked
to move
in.
in.
Yeah, they finally moved in. Three of the spots I went to, um, one of them was only about 8 feet, and you could see them down there in between the rocks swimming around. I mean, there was a lot of them. And what was funny was when we got to the spot, I didn't cast. I put a bait on. I thought, well, these people don't fish mangrove snapper. When they explained to them, you know, how to set the hook and catch it. So I dropped the bait down in the water right next to the boat, and I got hit by a mangrove snapper.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
was
good
only, yeah, 4 feet down, maybe.
because normally, by the end of April, they're in pretty thick in May, and it hasn't happened this year. I was getting a few,
Every
but not a lot.
Yeah, everything is behind this year. It's kind of strange. Everything has been behind. Even the tarpon coming up into the bay is a little behind.
I just don't understand why that would happen, though.
I think it had something to do with that. I don't know. Because the bait was different this year. And if the bait was late, that's
That's
making the
the thing.
fish. Yeah.
Remember 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, when we had bait in the bay, the mackerel were around, and
Yeah.
the bite was really good. Then the bait kind of left again, and I don't know why it left, unless
I
all
think
the rain weather. I don't know.
I, I, the only guess I could say is that, you know, we went from not getting any rain whatsoever to all of a sudden we were just getting torrential downpours. And it might have changed the salinity really quick, and they might have just went deeper to deeper water to stay in the salinity that they like.
Maybe that's it. But like you said, if there's plenty of bait on the flats, I think that'll turn the trout on.
Oh yeah,
Still, redfish is still not heavy around.
no, and it depends on where you go. It should be everywhere right now, and it's not. But it depends on where you go. There's some areas that are holding them pretty good. Some areas across the bay are holding larger ones, but I don't want to run all the way over there. To be honest with you,
Right.
I've got plenty of nice fish to catch over here. But every red that we've been catching lately is a nice 22 to 25 inch red. You know, they're in the slot.
That's a good slot.
Oh yeah,
Nice size.
and you know, like today, the people were great. It was an older couple. married for like 40 years, and they caught a bunch of mangrove snappers, some trout, and all they did was they kept 3 mangrove snapper and 1 trout, and they're like, yeah, that's all we need to eat, and they let everything else go.
Hey, you see the catfish king? Give us a
Yeah, we'll have to have a course on how to fillet a catfish.
yeah, he can teach us.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
Good, man. He'll find catfish where there's no catfish.
Yeah, it's just see now. Where's that Father's Day catfish tournament they used to have?
You know that, and that was fun. That
Yeah.
was a fun thing. It used to be out of Gandy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was out of Trapman's.
Who set it up?
I don't know who was running that, but it was out of Trapman's. So it might have been Trapman's.
Because I remember everybody liked that. I mean, it was a nice thing to, you know, father got his daughter or his son or the kids, whatever.
And they had tagged catfish.
Tagged?
And one of them was worth 10 grand. I think it was 5 or 10 grand. If you caught and they only had one that they released, but still, if you got lucky enough, that was a good day.
Man, $10,000 for a catfish.
Right?
That'd be worth fishing for.
Heck yeah. And the shame was I was young the first time I fished it, like 20 maybe younger than that. But me and my brother went out. We left the Trapman's dock. The motor conked out, and that was it. It didn't want to start anymore. So I said, well, we got a trolling motor, so we just trolling motored around. We did catch some catfish. We didn't win nothing, but it was still fun.
Another thing that I haven't heard much of this year. Normally, you see pictures on Facebook, people talking about it. What about the black drum? Anybody out there doing any black drum fishing?
Yeah, they're out there. More on the, they've moved up to the bridges. If you want black drum right now, you need to go to the bridges. Not the Skyway, upper bridges, Gandy and North.
Yeah, I think Howard Franklin used to be one of the better spots for the black drum. But I don't know all the construction that's going on.
Nah, it's not affecting them.
It's not affecting them at all?
No, not at all.
I guess they're used to it.
Yeah, they're there, and they're there pretty decent, pretty consistently.
And Roger Bird, yeah, he says it's hot out there. I know it. Ain't no question about it. What was the water temperature today, George?
Actually, yesterday when I looked at it, I was actually amazed. I hit 90.3.
Wow, that's hot.
90.3, and I didn't lose that much bait. I mean, I lost some, but it did pretty good. Joe says, beat the heat. Night fishing for sharks and drum. Yeah. Well, that's like my wife, she has too many health problems, so she couldn't be out in this heat. I told her, I said, I'll take you night fishing. She's like, no, I want to see everything. I'm like, well, you can't have everything.
Right. Yeah, my wife is out for me to take her out, but she can't take this heat.
No, it is brutal. And, Barb's got the fibromyalgia, so that's just forget it. She can't be out there in that.
And I tell you, I don't want to get sick. I'm telling all my clients this whole week, I got 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
I said, we are going to be back at the dock before noon. I mean, not 12:15, not 12:30. Yeah. I said, we're going to be back there pulling in no later than 12 o'clock sharp or a few minutes early because it's just too hot. I mean, after today, you could feel it by 9:30, quarter to 10, man. In my house, it looked like somebody opened an oven door.
I'll put it to you this way. At 11:30, no, a little before that, about 11:15, we were heading in. When I hit the trolling motor, I put it on high. Just that breeze alone, everybody was like, "Oh God, that feels so good." Just that breeze alone, and be safe out there. Like on the boat, always bring plenty of water, more than you need, because trust me, it's better to have too much. Bring a half a dozen Gatorades, because sometimes that Gatorade, the electrolytes, and the sugar boost will, bring you back if you're feeling bad. And then, like for my clients, I have the cooling towels, that the first time when they're clean, you can dunk them in the bottom of the cooler with that cold water and soak it up. You want to tie it around your neck and snug it a little bit. Don't choke nobody, but snug it a little bit. These 2 arteries on each side of your neck, all your blood runs through those main arteries. So if you have that cold towel against it, it's cooling your blood off. Your blood runs through your whole body. It cools your whole body off quicker. Within 15 minutes, somebody that's feeling really bad can start to feel good.
Uh,
And
I've
then
got
take
one that I haven't used, a brand new one. I saw it today when I was getting the boat ready. I'm taking it out tomorrow. Make sure
Yeah.
I use it.
Yeah, I've got 4 on the boat for the clients just in case. And then if you don't have that, just a regular towel dunked in that cold water wrapped around your neck. And then of course, when it about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, they start to feel good. Then it's time to cool that towel again. Just take a bottle of water and pour it right on there because you don't want to dunk it in your cooler after it's been around somebody's neck. That's kind of gross. But cool it off again. That second time, they'll it's amazing. But you got to catch the person right away. When you see their facial coloring start to change and they get quiet, you need to start asking questions and take care of it.
And if it's really bad, hey, just
Go in.
you're at your area, take them to Wheaton Island and let them jump in the water and swim a little bit, cool down.
Yeah. Even a lot of times too, especially if you put a towel around their neck and then you jump up on plane, that cold rag and the air will really cool them off quick.
Like I said, I still don't know how these guys do it without a top.
I did it for 16 years.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. But I'm glad I have the top now because clients like it a lot better. I've had a few times just recently where people ask, "Do you have a T-top?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So
there you go. Yeah, your audio, when you went back, your
yes,
audio got bad.
and now it's okay.
No, it's bad again.
I'm gonna log out. Come right back.
All right, yeah. Yeah, sometimes when George moves around, I think his mic or something on the laptop or something goes haywire. But no, that you do want to be very careful. In fact, one of the things I did, I got my cooler full of Powerade and water. I mean, I got a lot of water, a lot of Powerade. And in fact, I even filled my cooler up this afternoon. I put 2 more buckets of ice in it tonight. And tomorrow morning, I'll put another 2 buckets out of my ice machine just so everything is really cold for tomorrow. And I don't drain the water out until tomorrow morning. I'll drain that water out and put 2 more buckets of ice. And believe me, when you take a drink, take one of those water bottles. It's cold.
Yeah. How's my sound?
Yeah, it's good now.
Yeah. When I a lot of times when I have multiple trips, I leave the cooler on the boat and I do the same thing. And by doing that, you see how the water actually has ice on the inside of the bottle.
Right.
And yeah, you can't beat cold water from a cooler. Like out of a refrigerator, it's never as good as that.
I like it really cold this time of the year when you're out there. I mean, you have to, and I take a lot of Powerade. I like Powerade. Electrolytes, you start sweating a lot, you need to take in a lot.
Yeah. Like tomorrow, I've got 8 Gatorades on the boat and probably 20 waters. And it's just better to have too much than not enough.
Yeah, and plenty of ice, because I tell you what, I've heard of stories where people go out with somebody and say, "Oh yeah, they had water, but they had one little bag of ice. The water was lukewarm." I said, "Who in the heck wants to drink?"
No, my cooler, I fill it with ice, and then I have usually about 40 pounds of extra ice, in bags.
That's why I bought that ice machine. I got tired of bags, so now I just fill it in there. All right, let's see what it says here.
My brother, that's my brother, Lance.
Okay.
He says fingerless gloves that are absorbent dipped in the ice chest water will help dramatically cool off your body.
There you go. And I got them.
Yep.
I wear them all the time.
Yep. But yeah, I definitely, between what he's saying and then the rag around your neck to touch the 2 arteries, that's a really good trick because it's basically cooling your blood off and it runs through your whole body. So I had a lady 3 days ago that needed it. At first she's like, "No." And I was like, "No, you got to listen to me right now." I said, "You're in trouble. You need to get cooled off before it gets bad."
You want to stop it before it starts.
Right. Exactly. As soon as you start seeing them look funny.
And you can tell pretty quick. George, now let's see what I got here. I got a few things that I know we talked about last week, but we need to kind of go over it again. All right. So everybody know recreational harvest, the red grouper closed July 1st and will remain closed through December 31st of this year. But listen to this. This is the one that really drives me insane. And
Here it comes.
federal waters of the Gulf of Mexico will open to gag recreational harvest 12:01 local time September 1st and will close 12:01 local time September 16th. 15 days.
Yeah.
Now, what I don't see here is commercial closing
Right.
or opening. You notice that, right? What
Yeah.
about the commercial?
You have to look it up.
All their information says that in those 15 days, we're going to reach our quota of catching grouper. Now, how stupid can people be? You're talking, like a Saturday through a Sunday 2 weeks later or whatever. Most of the people are working during the week, guys. They go out on a Saturday and a Sunday if the weather lets them. How can you sit there in your office and figure out that in 15 days, we're going to reach our quota? How can you figure that out?
Because they fish.
What the weather's going to be. You don't know if it's going to be what happens if there's a hurricane and nobody goes out?
Remember I told you the captain that went out and they went for the red grouper assessment? Well, they also did a gag grouper assessment. And you know what they were fishing over? They had them fishing over the Swiss cheese bottom for gag grouper.
Here's what are the catch levels for gag grouper in the Gulf of Mexico? The 2023 recreational annual catch limit for gag was 403,759 pounds gutted weight. The annual catch limit was derived in part using landing estimates, not actual, but landing estimates.
Right.
Okay, for Florida from the Marine Recreational Information Program. Final 23 landing estimates was 737,000 pounds were gutted. All this is estimates. They don't have the real numbers.
Yeah, that's just totally stupid right there.
I don't understand how they can get away with this. It's ridiculous, George. I mean, they're hurting the people who are spending the money that are keeping the industry going. They're the people who buy boats, buy rods, buy reels, buy bait, buy hooks, but I never see anything. I don't see anywhere in all these reports that I got where it says, what about the commercial? How long are they going to be open? And what makes it different? And do you tell me that in the state of Florida, in 15 days, we're going to catch over 700,000 pounds of grouper? Bull crap, man.
Well, Donald told me he wasn't going to be able to tune in tonight because it's his 40th anniversary. So happy anniversary, Donald. And he says, good evening. Liz knows I'm watching from the beach house. That's funny. He couldn't stay away. Donald, we appreciate it. And happy anniversary, buddy.
Thank you, man.
That's funny.
I mean,
but yeah, I just don't like all this
information. This is what bothers me.
And they even admit it. Estimates. They don't even have an actual figure of what was actually caught. And then the problem is too, a lot of people don't want to turn that information in because they're asking you, where'd you catch it?
Oh yeah.
How, and it's like people don't want to give up their fishing spots.
I mean,
so they go to this estimate stuff.
When I get to Gandy once in a while, they're there and they said, do you mind if we ask you what you caught? And like, can we measure some of your fish and all this stuff? And then I guess I said, okay, well, let's see. Today we spoke to 10 boats and this is what they caught. And it was probably 200 boats went out of here this week. Probably. Yeah. So let's multiply that times 200. Right. And now we know the catch for Gandy. That's baloney.
Yeah, because you got to look at it this way. The 10% rule. And I think that's a little low, but they always said, 10% of the fishermen catch 90% of the fish.
Right.
But let's even go half. Let's say you got half are really good at fishing and half are learning. So you can't do an estimate, especially if you happen to ask the people that did really well, and then you got other people that didn't do really well, but you're only going by the people that did really well.
It's crazy. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, though. On a positive note, the amount of trout that I'm seeing now out there is really, really good.
which is good. 'Cause
Um,
they were off. They were slow for.
yeah, you couldn't find them. Like there was only certain areas that were holding trout. Now it seems like all the typical spots that we used to catch trout at are
Yeah,
now starting to come back. I mean, you're gonna get your 13s to 15-inch ones, but just to see that, I went a few days ago and literally pulled up, first bait in the water, bam, trout. Caught 15 casts, 15 trout. So it was nice to see, that they're coming back. And I fished for trout now, like north of Courtney Campbell, in between Gandy and Howard Franklin, over by Picnic Island, Weeden Island, Pinellas Point, and I've caught trout every one of those areas. So where before, especially after Piney Point, we couldn't find a trout.
it was real difficult.
Yeah, so it's good to see that. And then you remember how bait, all that bait that died. I mean, we had flats where the bait was just flipping out of the water from
Right.
Coffee Pot all the way up to Mermaid Point. That whole flat area right there. I got videos of it that I turned in, and they were just dying. And I don't know what's happened to Hula Bay Flat. I don't know if the food source is just not there, but
That just
I'm
died
seeing.
completely.
Well,
Died.
yeah, I'm seeing some. Believe it or not, though, recently I've been seeing some white bait over there, but not enough for me to want to go there to catch it.
Yeah, because that was the easy spot to go because it was close to the ramp. You went
Right.
to caught your bait early, picked up your people at the ramp, And I'll tell you, that's the other thing. What's going on with gas? Gas goes down, down. You get to about 314, 319, three something, low threes, and then you wake up in the morning, 359 again.
Well, I'm buying ethanol free, and I'm looking at 419.
Oh yeah, that's Wawa was 419 the other day. But
Yeah, Steve. Yeah, that's where I was this morning. That's where I got my bait this morning, and it's all of Weeden Island.
That's good.
From north to south is loaded with bait
that
right
might
now.
bring a bunch of trout. It brings
should.
fish. It should really get the snook pot going again because
Yeah.
they'll all come in because there's food there now.
Yeah, and I mean it's thick, and I seen some mackerel hits on the flats from all that bait being there. I mean it's stacked up.
Well, they're going to follow the bait, which is
Yeah.
understandable.
Yep.
Now, and you said all that we got the new hatchlings out, which is
Yep.
not bad. If you're mango snapper fishing, I tell you, they
Right.
make great chum, and they're great because they're small enough that the mango snapper will swallow that sucker.
And they don't. We're kind of past the first hatchling stage because now they're getting up to 2.5 inches. I had some stick in the 1/4 inch net, but not too many. I mean, I probably caught the one throw. I caught about 150 baits. I might have had 15 baits that stuck in the net, so that's not too bad, See,
Look at
Craig
that.
says I passed the Wawa on the way home, and it went up 60 cents today to 3.89. But that's not for ethanol free, is it? Because that
No,
would be.
it's regular.
I'm just saying,
the
'cause-
hurricane in Texas shutting down a bunch of the pumping stations and all that, and distilleries. So that could be.
Yeah.
That could be. Hey, regular gas was 359 today when I bought it. 349 where I'm at, and that was this afternoon when I filled the truck up.
Well, here's what's funny too. A little thought here. Let's say the new gas truck comes and the price is higher. They fill the tanks back up. Right then and there, the price at the gas pump goes up. But you still got gas in those tanks that were at the lower price.
Oh yeah,
You
they got a lot
You
more
weren't-
money.
you weren't empty.
No, heck no.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So that's
thought
regular gas, 3.89.
Well, might be at around. Well, remember, I paid as much. Sometime in the last year, I paid as much as 459 at Wawa.
Yep.
No.
For ethanol. Yep.
Can you imagine people
ethanol free.
at the marina, like a little hard, like at
$6 a gallon, probably.
oh yeah, I mean, because when I used to keep it at the marina here by Hula Bay, they were always 80 cents to $1 higher gallon for the gas.
Yeah. Typically
The only one
about
that's got a good price is O'Neill's. Oh, they always had a good price.
right. Well, Neos tries to do that. They try to keep a good price on the gas. They try to keep a good price on their shrimp. They've always kind of tried to stay decent with that. And I mean, they've been around forever.
They're good people there. All right, why don't we do? You want to do Michael Haynes fishing report?
Yeah, let's run that. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Good evening, Captain Mike Haynes here, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. Hope everybody had a safe and happy 4th of July weekend. This week, it's been hot. It just continues to get hot. The nice rain clouds kind of cool us off for a little bit. But I noticed something picking up my pinfish traps. That some of the pinfish, not all of them, but some of them, had died over the evening time or during the day, if it sat for more than 24 hours. In the trap, there were still some live, still some dead, which got me thinking and got me trying to figure something out here, because with that low water, there's not a lot of oxygen, and that would be the reason why these pinfish had died. So I kind of changed my game plan, and that's probably what needs to happen probably for the rest of this summer, is trying to fish those higher tides. When it's really low tide like that, very hot, water temperature is 87, 88, probably 89 in some places, maybe even more, that oxygen level just gets depleted. And so these fish are not really in those low tides. They're finding deeper water, deeper holes, everything that they can to try to get out of this hot, low oxygen water. And I noticed in the low tide, there wasn't a lot of movement up there, not a lot of mullet hanging around, not a lot of bait fish. Even when I was cruising across the flats in about a foot of water, you could see all the pinfish up near the surface of the water. And as I got close, they kind of flickered and went back down. So these fish are really trying to find that oxygen in this hot water. So try to change your game up a little bit and fish during the higher tides or the incoming tide, or just after the tide has come down to, a couple hours after the tides started to go out to low tide. Because I believe what's happening is these fish are trying to find some deeper water, find some cooler water, and find some moving water. So the low tides up on the flats really aren't going to be very productive. So that is something to pay attention to, especially in the summertime when we have low tides and just hot. These fish will definitely find some deeper waters near the channels, edge of canals, just anywhere where at least 5 to 6 foot, you kind of get a little change and a little more oxygen around there. Because I noticed that the trout around up here, they are definitely in deeper water, and they're kind of scattered. And about 8 to 9 foot of water is where we're kind of finding some trout. So they're very deep. They're kind of scattered a little bit here and there, but still using jigs. Can't really use popping corks on them, still too deep for that. So having to use jigs or soak a bait down there, just kind of drifting along the flats to try to find those trout. They are still there, just definitely locate some deep water nearby. And also hard bottom. They're sitting in some grass, but they're more near the hard bottom. That hard bottom just percolates, I guess, better in the summertime. The grass, I believe, and I'm not positive on this, but I believe the grass just gets hot. It just warms up, and that oxygen doesn't get flowing through it as it should. So they're on harder bottom. And the reason why I say that is because all the redfish, most of the snook we're finding are definitely on hard bottom. We're not finding them in the grass. So anywhere there's open bottom, that's where these schools of snook and redfish seem to be finding refuge, just open water. I haven't really found some up in the mangroves or anything else like that, just finding open water flats where you've got hard bottom, sandy bottom. I think it's just a little more cooler for them to acclimate to. Still a lot of schools finding with the reds. We limited out one morning within 15 minutes on a school. So they're around. You just have to keep moving, keep trying to find them. Best thing obviously is finding the mullet. Find the mullet around. Usually the redfish are hanging around there along with the snook. Scalloping has been pretty good, not bad for the first opening week. About an hour we got at least 5 gallons worth. So they are there. You just have to really kind of move. Keep moving until you locate a few. Definitely when you find one, go down. There's probably going to be 3, 4, 5 around that one. Take your time, real slow. But I've also known that they are deeper in deeper water. Same thing, lower oxygen. These things are going to move. The scallops, they swim around. So you're going to find them in deeper water, and you can see a lot of boats are going deeper and deeper. So our good location of them was about 6 foot. And again, we weren't finding the long grass. We found them in the shorter grass, kind of muddier bottoms, and somewhat broken up as well. So they are still here. They're pretty good. It's been better than previous years. We've had some horrible years in the past, but the scallops are good, and they seem to be bigger this year. So that's always a good thing. You may not have to get as many because they're big, nice, juicy scallops. So we'll try them out again this week. But if you get a chance, get out there, stay hydrated, go early in the morning if you can, or go later in the evening. That sun is just brutal. And we'll see you next week. Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. And yeah, he made, a lot of good points there, and it's just hot. And, I'm sure you're doing the same thing, Sergio, looking at the tide chart to seeing, what kind of, at low tide, what kind of water you got left.
Yeah, because if it's too low, it's like anything. If you got a shallow pan and a deep pan, the deep pan takes a lot longer to heat up.
Right. And once that water gets really hot and the water gets drawn out and it goes to a lower tide, it depletes the oxygen, especially if you're in like the back end of a canal or the back country. There's some areas that I know, a handful of them, that I'm not going into with a live well full of white bait
You ain't gonna
at low tide, because you're going to kill them all, And, if the white bait can't survive, the fish probably aren't liking it either. And, you change your game plan, like the other day and even today, low tide was at 8:30. So for that first few hours, we fished in 8 feet of water on the outgoing tide. All my bait stayed alive. The fish were really active. Just change what you're looking for. A couple of days ago, that charter, we stayed in 5 to 7 feet of water, throwing this right here, saltwater assassin, chicken on a chain. It's got 2 colors going on there, and that chartreuse tail really does a number on them. And we were in 5 to 7 feet of water, and it was as many trout as you wanted. And it's good action and good fun. And then when the tide turned and the water started coming in, I gave it about an hour so that I could have good fresh water coming in there, which is going to bring the oxygen back into the area. Then I hit the flats and started fishing.
You got, when you got an outgoing tide, like in Tampa Bay, you got all that water coming out of, Double Branch and all that. That's shallow, hot water. That's low on oxygen. You need the water to start coming back in. And since something just came up, because I always keep this right here so we can talk about it, but has anybody got a report on,
anybody winning anything?
Yeah. I mean, usually I see a bunch of stuff show up on my Facebook page. Hey, somebody got a tag redfish. Somebody did this. Somebody did that. I see stuff about Lisa Fitzgerald and other people doing stuff, but I really don't see anything about the Star Tournament and what it's producing. And, everybody should be a member of it. I mean, guys, there it is. Look at that. $500,000 in prizes. You ought to take advantage of it. And it looks like, I don't know, Donald is usually the guy who does all the work for us and tells us what's going on. But have you heard of anybody winning the boat or anything yet?
I haven't seen anything, I'll tell you, online.
On it.
One tag red, he said.
That's it. Jesus. And what did they win, Donald? Did they win a boat?
I doubt that. We'll see. Let's see. But yeah, you're not hearing a lot about winning. But they have so many different categories now, and
this is the trouble to me personally. Okay, and I'm just saying me and my Cuban moving my hands. But when they started, it was redfish.
Oh wow!
And
They said the guy won a contender.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice.
But
And
when they started, it was redfish.
right.
You concentrated on redfish, and that was good. And then they started adding more species, I guess, to try to bring more people in. But I
Right.
think what happens is you start to dilute it to some degree. Because remember when they started, they had a pickup truck. They had the car, they had the pickup truck, they had boats, they had all this stuff. And it was good. You had a regular division, a kids division, but it was redfish. And it opened. Then they started this thing about all this other fish and picking up trash, and then grouper offshore.
Right. Right.
Oh, come on. You start
Now-
diluting it, I think. I think you took something away from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is my personal opinion. I think if you would have kept it to redfish, people would have concentrated on it. It was more like maybe a father and son kind of deal. Hey, let's go out Saturday morning.
Well,
See if we get a redfish.
let me weigh in on that a little bit. I think what happened was our redfish population got diminished so bad, a lot of people weren't catching redfish. So then they felt like, well, why join this? I'm never going to catch a redfish. I think that's why they had to expand it a little bit.
There's an answer to that. You take a bunch of the money that you're putting into all this other stuff,
Right.
and put more redfish into the
Yeah.
area.
But I think that's why they expanded it. But I think they went too far, like you're saying, and went into 3 billion different categories.
I mean, look at it. When's the last time about grouper? You hear anything about grouper? Anything like any of those other offshore species? I don't see anything on Facebook. I don't see anything about anybody participate. I don't even know if they're participating.
Right. Now, Sharon chimed in. She said that she's seen where they were caught with tagged redfish, but the person wasn't registered.
That's his problem.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts.
Don't have that oxygen in Jersey because the coastal water is already icy. Okay, up in
I don't know. I used to live in Jersey. I don't know about that one. Donald says money goes to a great cause. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we realize that.
Like I said, I don't have the problem paying the $40 to be in it, but maybe narrow it back down. Maybe it should have been like a trout and a snook and a redfish or something, But you just expanded it so much, and you added so many other things to it that I think it lost some of the. I don't know. I want to call it the togetherness, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Louise says, careful with Jersey gas. Some places mix it with water. Trust me, there's places like that all over the United States that doing it dirty. That's funny.
So anyway, but you should be part of the
CCA
tournament. Yeah, CCA. They do wonderful things for us, and I'm just speaking out loud of what I think. Maybe diluted it a little bit, but hey, I pay my money every year, and I'm always hopeful to catch that redfish or whatever. But I just don't focus on all this other stuff that they put out. I ain't got time to be focusing on all that.
Right.
Let's see what it says here. The FWC has destroyed my love for gag grouper. Not worth the time and effort. Well, it's true. Look, we're just talking about gas. So you're going to go out, let's say 25 miles, okay?
Right.
At $4 and something a gallon, you're going to burn 25 gallons, maybe, right? 30.
Yep.
I mean, because I burned 12, 13 in the bay.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to figure out and back, there's 50 miles. Plus, if you're doing any poking around out there.
Right. And then, towing that bigger boat to the ramp, wherever it is you're going. So when you think about all of that, I mean, right off the bat, the average person is going to put $200 out of his pocket for bait, gas, and tackle, and all that kind of stuff, and then go out there and not be able to keep it, or it's crazy. So it turns people off.
I mean, in the past, where you could keep 4-piece, at least you came home with, a good amount of dollars worth of, fillets. Because, if you go to the grocery store right now, I mean, a grouper fillet is ridiculous per pound.
It was at 18 something frozen, but in Tarpon Springs, not too long ago when I was up there, fresh grouper fillets was $28 and something a
Yeah.
pound.
Yeah. I forget what I saw, but it was like 25 somewhere. I saw it, and I was like, and that was fresh frozen, if you know what I'm saying. That's what.
Walmart was $18.95, something like that, for frozen fillets.
Yeah.
And they might not even be from here. They could have been from South America, which is a grainy grouper.
It's 7:40. Did you want to run another report? Maybe
Let's do it.
Bucky's.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's
do-
do Bucky's. Good
All
idea.
right.
Oh, Bucky fell asleep.
So
Hello,
we'll
Bucky.
see. Hopefully we might have bored him to death.
You're born with death. The Hota fell asleep on the chair. Bucky.
Good afternoon. It's Monday afternoon. Captain Bucky Goldman, Bag 'em Fishing Charters, Tampa, Florida, FishingGuide.com. So I didn't get out much this week. Been kind of busy. My kid was in between camps, so I was kind of stuck at home. I did go out a couple days ago. Took my brother and my buddy Bill. We got into some nice snook. Few nice redfish. I actually caught a pretty big tank, but I didn't take a picture of it. I don't need the glory. And then today was my little kids camp. I had 4 kids on the boat. We started off catching some, got some little trout and a couple bonnethead sharks. They had a lot of fun with those. You know, some ladyfish and stuff. Moved around, bounced around a bunch. Caught a few snook here and there. Took them swimming, and once that tide came in a little more, we ended up getting on a bunch of snook. Probably caught about 15 in that last hour, so it was a lot of fun. Kids did really good. But it's hot out there. Bait's small. You know, it's hard getting. I actually caught some nicer bait at the bridge early on, and then I went and hit the flat, filled up with some little baits and some pinfish for chummers, and you know, pinfish are thrown into the bushes and stuff. So it worked out well. The redfish just didn't cooperate today. I actually went to where I was catching redfish recently, and my bait started dying as soon as I got in there with that started of that outgoing tide. So something was going on with that water, whether it was dissolved oxygen. You just really have to be careful with your bait and keep a close eye on it, especially when the water's 88, 89 degrees. So, all right. Thank you. Bye.
All right.
That was a funny way to end it. Thank you, Bucky.
You know what I was thinking when Michael said something before? If we could get Hota to go do a scalloping trip. Well, think about it.
Yeah.
You got the GoPro cameras, right? You and I can put them on. We got 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's scalloping.
It'd be different.
Yeah, we can keep them on top of the boat, but we go down scalloping and show people how to do it, and then tie it in with something else, you know. Or if Hota really wants to be brave, he can go underwater with us with a GoPro. Hota, you like to do that? There you go. See, hey, he's game for anything, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, as soon as I get the new Skeeter, we're going to go back up there with Michael Haynes and fish the shallow water grouper.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Tower, we'll be able to see a lot of the rocks real clear. We get
Right.
okay. And usually the best grouper bite, I think it's actually in the fall.
It is.
Because that water gets cooler and the fish even move in even closer. So
What's wild is that you can sight cast them.
oh yeah, with
Yeah.
plugs.
Yeah.
So Michael, kind of, if you're still listening in, let me know what's a good time in the fall to do that grouper show. We'll bring the Skeeter up there and go with you.
Before the winds come in.
Yeah, before the winds come in. That would, listen, what he's, Michael.
Yeah, yes, grouper in the fall. Yeah, it's always been better in the fall. It's nice up there.
We'll do that. And I think between the drone and Hota sitting up on the tower, we can do pretty good. But now let's talk a little bit about the south end of the bay. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Cockroach and Bishop's Harbor, and not around downtown as much. I think the water is pretty hot around downtown coming off the river.
Well, and you know where else too is Fort DeSoto's come back to life now.
That's what I heard. Because you know
Yeah.
it's been dead for over 3 years.
Yeah, no, it's been good for easily 6 months now.
Because I used to go there. I used to go all the way from Upper Tampa Bay by boat with my Schaefer all the way down there because I had about 6 or 7 docks, guaranteed redfish every day this time of the year. I mean, nice reds. And then all of a sudden, they just disappeared.
Yeah. Well, it's a fun area because you can go catch grouper, cobia, trout, snook, redfish, like 1, 2, 3 in that area. It was a great area, and it's starting to come back now. The trout, there's some nice sized trout, good redfish moving around some of the flats and the oyster beds out there. But I've heard a lot of good stuff going on right now.
And Michael says as soon as the water gets down in the low 70s, upper 60s. Yeah, October, November. That'd be a perfect time.
I always liked, like for me, it always seemed like 74, 73 was like the magic number.
That's about magic number for kingfish too, 72, 73.
Right.
That's a perfect. But you know, you can't tell. The last few years, remember, I think it was last year, kingfish didn't come down till November.
Yeah.
That middle of November is when they started coming down.
And then what's funny is years ago, I started talking to people and telling them, you know, because everybody talks about north and south migration. And I said, I think there's more of an east and west migration also. And nobody really believed me. Now, 25 years later, now they talk about the east and west migration because I was out summertime with an uncle and his friend, and we were in 55 feet of water off of Anclote catching massive kingfish.
Well, I remember when I used to fish a lot offshore, certain times of the year, there was sailfish out of Tarpon Springs. We used to fish out of there. And I'm talking only in 35, 40 feet of water.
Right.
But one day it was like 4 of us guys from the fishing club, 4 boats. And we sat there and watched like 6 sailfish balling on all this bait. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we were only about 25, 30 miles from shore.
Same thing about Egmont Channel. Egmont Channel is famous for getting sailfish too.
It's one of those things. Well, let's see. We better get Tony Franklin on.
Yep.
Hi, Captain Tony Franklin back with this week's fishing report. So the weather has been really, really hot as expected. July 4th weekend just passed. A lot of boats on the water, a lot of different things going on. I'm going to get into the fishing report, but I'm going to get into some basics about leaving the dock early, getting out on the water early. The better bite is early in the morning as this sun is scorching with a heat index up around 111 by noon on most days. So we'll start out with what's working the best again so far, and it's been the spotted sea trout. It's still working really well in 5 to 6 feet of water. We're just free lining the bait. Smaller baits are working better. There's also been bonnethead sharks on the grass flats, same area, 5, 6 feet of water. There's been action with bluefish. There's action with jack crevalles. The snook bite's been okay, but you got to be up on the higher tide, up under the mangroves. Same thing with the redfish. They are pinned up under these mangroves, trying to stay away from a lot of the dolphins that are in the area. So you got to get it close. If you need a popping cork, you can throw one up under there to get it closer. If not, your best bet is to free line it using a number 1 hook, like I said, using the smaller baits. Redfish, there's been a few around. Haven't seen a whole lot of them lately. Haven't really been targeting much, but like I said, they're in the same areas, higher tide, pinned up under those mangroves. They are also around residential docks, so give that a try also. So pretty good action, even though the water's really hot. Like I said, the key, get out early, get going, get off the water before the storms, before it gets super hot. And that's been the action this week. That's my report for this week. Tight lines, I'll see you in the water.
Tony?
Good job, Tony. Good job. Yeah.
I tell you, I don't feel sorry for those guys in the fishing this kids camp 5 days a week.
Yep. Donald said Henry wants to see his fish.
All right. Let's get George Hastic.
Yeah, I took Donald and his grandson out, so I got some pictures of them too.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, this is Captain George Hastic of Fish Hunter Fishing Charters coming to you from St. Petersburg, Florida. Well, it is hot out there. They're saying the feels like temperatures are hitting over 110, 111, somewhere around there. And, just be careful out there. Drink a lot of water. If you got a T-top, try to use the shade of the T-top as much as possible. And I seen 90-degree water the other day in the morning, like around 10, 11 o'clock. So what you want to do is definitely find moving water. Moving water and deeper water. Those are the two key things right now. And shade. So shade can be under the bridges, under your docks, the mangrove tree line. Anywhere there's shade to make it a little bit cooler and moving water, that's going to hold like your snook, your trout, your redfish. And then on your trout, look for a little bit deeper water, that 5 to 7 feet of water, maybe even 8 feet of water. Look for your nice grassy areas, drop-offs along the edges of sandbars where it just goes deeper, and you've got a lot of nice sand holes mixed in with that grass, and that's going to hold bait, which in turn is going to hold fish. On the trout, I'm still using the little P&V opening night with a chartreuse tail, and the green glass minnow. Those two are working for me. Oh, and one other one was chicken on a chain. That's another one that color is working good for me right now. The trout. I'm basically just using a 2-jig hopping method. So I'll hop it twice and let it sink. Hop it twice, let it sink. And when I'm hopping it, I'm only doing short. I'm not going like 2 feet, 4 feet up like that. I just want to get it like 1.5 feet off the bottom and let it sink. And a lot of times on that sink, that's when you're going to see a thump, a hit, your line jump. At that point, give it a nice quick little hook set. If you got the fish, obviously start reeling. If you missed it, let that lure sink back down, twitch it a little bit, work it. A lot of times that fish will come back. On the snook and redfish, I'm mostly using live bait on them right now. Even though cut bait should be getting the redfish right now, I'm actually doing better on the live bait. So we're using scaled sardines and live pinfish. Those two baits will work really good. Throwing a lot of scaled sardines right now. They're plentiful out there. Just watch that you don't put too many in your live well, because that can kill them. The oxygen levels are a little bit lower right now in the water because of the amount of heat we have going on. The other thing happening right now is we've got schools of Jack Crevalle that seem to be running about the 5-pound range. They're roaming the flats and inside the marinas, and they're just a fun time. People, frown on the Jack Crevelles, but pound for pound, it's probably one of the hardest fighting fish in the bay. Also, the mackerel have moved back up into the bay, all the way up to the Ganley Bridge area. Look for like your shell hard bottoms, your range markers, your reefs, rock piles. Also look for the schools of threadfin, because they'll be hanging out around the schools of threadfin. You can throw gold spoons, live scaled sardines. Either one will work. Actually, shrimp under a float. Put it to float about 4 feet up from the shrimp. That's also a good tactic. If you don't want to go catch bait or whatever, shrimp will work for those too. Mangrove snapper, your docks, your rock piles, your rock jetties, your bridge pylons, shrimp or smaller whitebaits will work good for those also. All right, this has been Captain George Hastic. Have a good day.
It looked like Donald had a good time.
Yeah, they did. It was Donald really made it all about Henry, and he really wanted him to. That was the goal. Keep Henry's line in the water and get as much fish, and they had a great time. He never caught a redfish before, So I said, we're gonna change that today, and then he got his first slam, so that was good. And they both slammed that day, so they had a great time. I gotta plug these guys because I used this today by Procure.
Oh yeah, hey,
This is
stuff.
their hand cleaner, and I don't want to say the name, I guess, but
Yeah, badass.
yeah, there it is, hand
And lures.
and lure soap. But like today, I worked on my motor, and I greased my Zerk fittings and all that. Got grease in my hands, and I'm a real stickler about not having a bad scent on my hands because I don't want to touch a bait and have that transfer. But this stuff is actually good for tobacco, sunblock, grease, oils, gasoline, fish scents, removes fish oil and blood like from your clothes. So it's a little bit of everything in this thing, but it's got a foam thing. You spray it on, foam it onto your hand. And what I like to do is I wash with this, and it leaves just a little bit of a scent of whatever this is in here, but it's very mild. And then if you just wash your hands regular, you got no scent on your hands.
Beautiful. Hey, and as long as it works. And
It does.
Anything
It-
for Procure works.
Yeah, this so far, this has been not even just because they're our sponsor. This has been the best soap that I've ever found to take scent off your hand. I've used lemon juice and tried all the tricks you always heard about, toothpaste and all that. Nothing compares to this. And like I said, once this takes the real bad scent off your hand, then just wash your hands regularly and you're
So
golden.
I tell you, it's like frozen shrimp when it thaws out. Oh, geez.
Squid.
That smell in your hands.
Yeah.
And it's shrimp, but it's
Yep.
because it's frozen, it starts to
Yep.
thaw out, and especially in this heat, it starts to thaw out and it starts to stink real quick.
Oh yeah. I remember when I was younger too, using squid.
Oh,
that
was really bad.
was another one. Once that was in the sun for a while, and I'm telling you, this right here, because I've had that shrimp scent like you're talking about. This right here works. So I mean, try their scents, but man, do yourself a favor and buy one bottle of this. After you buy one bottle of that, I'm telling you, you'll buy more.
You don't need to use it all the time. You use it when you need
Nah,
it, you know.
Nope.
But it beats the heck out of stinking all day.
Oh, yeah, and because they got it in one of those pumps that makes it foam up,
Yeah.
you get a lot. Because the liquid, when it foams up, you get a lot for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it lasts.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I think we've had a good show today. We got a lot of input. But George, I think maybe this weekend I'm going to get on the computer and go into FW the Star tournament and see what's going on. Maybe we can come up with some more information for our viewers.
Right.
What's going on?
Did you see what Donald had wrote earlier? He said he emailed FWC about the gag grouper season. He got a call from them explaining why, and Donald asked about who, where, and what they were using to assess these numbers, and she emailed him, and he hasn't opened it up yet to see what the reply was on that one. So Donald, bring that with you next week because we want to hear what she had to say.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to have a good. What do you call it? Professional
Excuse.
answer that when you get through reading it, you're going to say,
I need a lawyer.
yeah, I don't know what they said.
Yeah. I need a lawyer to explain it to me.
You need a freaking lawyer to understand it, man.
Thank you, Donald.
Well, I guess we're going to see each other on the flats in the morning.
Yep.
I don't know how it happened because this time of the year, I don't like to do, I know you don't care, but I don't like to do more than 2 maybe. And I wound up with 4 days in a row. I said, oh man. But I had phone calls from good clients that had people in town, and I'm going to have to put up with it. I'll be a tired puppy come Friday. I'll tell you that.
I almost had 8 in a row just now, but my the guy that hired me for Saturday and Sunday, he's a real good client. He had something come up, so he called me all like, I said, no. I said, I don't mind the break.
Yeah.
I said, otherwise I would have had 8 trips in a row, and it was like, gee, this heat is brutal right now.
And in the fall, I mean, March, April, May,
That's gravy.
February, yeah, it's gravy. But July and August, man.
Yeah. And you know me, sometimes I'm out there doing them 6-hour trips and this stuff.
No. See, that's no. This time of the year, nope.
Nope.
Hey, I'm not going to do it. I'll let somebody else do it.
Well, I get people.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I get people like this guy Ryan. He's a doctor. He comes down every year. So when he gets down here, he wants to spend that full amount of time out there. And
and it's fine for a guy, but what most people don't understand, George, this time of the year, it's not healthy for people.
it's hot.
There,
Yeah.
Especially somebody who's not used to it. You're used to it. I mean, I've been. If I'm not on the boat, I'm on my yard because I got an acre, and I spend 3 hours out in this hot sun, cutting limbs and everything else. But the average person that's not used to it, you take them out there, and after 4 hours, they're dying.
Okay. I got this was on the news tonight, and this is kind of it just hit me funny. They're saying in July, because of course, everybody's going to the beaches, they're going to the pools. I'm talking about the whole United States, not just Florida, all United States. In July, everybody's hitting the lakes and their pontoon boats up north and, all different things. And basically, swimming is like the biggest thing. July is the worst month for drowning in the United States. Like they showed a graph, and literally the graph goes like this: shoot, July, shoot.
Probably from heat exhaustion out there.
Everything. And so in somewhere here in Pinellas County, they made a program, like a free program, I guess either for kids or maybe adults too, to learn how to swim and safety in swimming. And the program starts in July. And I'm like, wait a minute. July is the worst month for drowning. Why would you start a program like that in July?
Well, leave it up to the government.
Yes, I heard that. And I was like, what? Wouldn't you start that at least 2 months before July when maybe you could help somebody not drown?
Well, listen,
But,
thank everybody for tuning in tonight.
definitely.
And again, we don't know how to thank you for, what you're doing for us on, Fishing Adventures Florida. But we have over 21,000 subscribers this
20,
week.
22. I thought we were 23
23,000. Yeah.
Yes.
23,000.
and change
And then we got over 51,000
views.
already on our shows. So in a very short period of time, you guys are really helping us out. Again, from me personally, thank you. And I'm sure George,
Of course.
same thing.
Thank you very much, everybody. And
Next week,
keep,
everybody, have a good time.
keep spreading the word. Have a good night.
Goodbye.